Where's your juice? Where's your juice?
Yeah.
Where's your juice?
Who got the juice?
You don't have your own juice.
Oh, I had it, yeah.
You want more?
Hey, everyone had great juice.
Yeah.
Okay, right now we're good to go.
Very good.
Guys, I want to ask something. Is the baby born with a blank mind or there's pre-functions
In the brain.
in the brain?
Yeah, that's a hot subject there, bro. Because it's like when you think about it. When you think about the topic that you're talking about, man, I think that's like a very, I don't know, man. Like, you know, there's this blank slate theory that they're talking about. Like, you know, people are born without much, and then through their experiences, now they gain something from it. Especially that's what they were saying about like boys and girls. That we're pretty much the same. It's just our experiences that make us girls or boys, which I find off. But I mean, I guess
That's a bit of you think about biology.
But then what would be in your head, man, if you're just a baby? You've never existed before.
It's like we have cups
to pour. Yes, but
to accept whatever.
Yeah, those are the things that we are saying they're different for me, in a way. Our wiring is not the same.
You think so?
Yeah.
Hey, man, but yeah. Anyway,
That's
we'll
why I
dissect
said
it another time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a crazy one.
Yeah, but what's up, folks? Welcome to today's episode of the Bro Philosophy Podcast. As usual, my name is Ephraim.
Your name is Ritepi.
Yeah, we taking it back.
Okay.
200 years ago, what would have been your name, my dude?
200 years ago, my name would have been nothing, man. It would have been potential. My name would have been potential.
I get it.
Okay, but let me do it again before my fellow Pan-Africanists
We're on your head, bro. We're on your head.
Alright, so good afternoon, people. Good people. My name is Ritsepile Ephraim Mapasa, and this here is
Hi.
Hi guys, I'm not doing.
I am being bullied today.
But you didn't say Ritepi. You said Ritepi.
I'm trying to make everyone know. You see that? I'm trying to make you comfortable now.
Alright,
let's go then.
Yeah, but anyway, guys. So on today's episode, we are discussing part 1 of self-actualization. So this is sort of like my mini series in a way of dissecting self-actualization. So today I'll be focusing more on Jung's philosophy or principles of individuation, which simply defined is basically a union of an individual's unconscious and conscious sides to make up the whole self, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So I suppose it's safe to break down the two components now of the self, I guess, before we go deeper into the topic.
Okay.
So basically, your conscious self is the side of you that you are aware of, which is of course made up of your ego. The ego, though, also has another side, which is in the unconscious.
Okay.
So the unconscious meaning the sides of yourself that you are not aware of, or you could be aware of, but you are sort of suppressing.
I see.
Yeah. So with that said, we can now move on to the influences and why it is that we have the conscious and our unconscious self, I guess, in a way. Which, of course, the unconscious is, you can have your unconscious self, but you can also have the collective unconscious, which means...
I think maybe, like, I don't know, I think I still don't understand the self in this case.
In the self.
Because I understood you say, like, with the conscious self, then, like, maybe self-awareness in some sense, like, you're aware of being.
The
person,
self in Carl Jung's theory or whatever. It's actually the whole.
It's the whole person now.
So it's your persona, which is the person that you are, and then it's actually the persona. The persona is
the persona is the person that you pretend to be to people. The person that you feel people will accept you as.
Okay.
Which is now, of course, informed by your ego. But the ego is who you think you are.
Okay.
Understand? That's who you think you are. But of course, now, that's what I said earlier, your ego is in two realms now. It's in your conscious and the unconscious. The ego that most people focus on is the one that you're conscious of. It's the person that you're aware of. The things that people give you credit for, like when people compliment you, and then you take that, oh, this is what I am. It's who you think you are fully, the ones that you are aware of. But then there's the part of your ego which you are not aware of, that other people might see, and if they tell you about it, you'll be like, what? I don't think that's me. But it might be. You're simply just not aware of. You understand?
So wait, the one that you're not aware of, is it on the subconscious, or it's just like, it's sort of like closed off from your observations exactly?
It's
But
both.
it's actually
It's both. Really.
okay.
Like for example, you could have had like a traumatic experience, and then you close that thing from your brain.
No,
You can forget, and like in your thoughts, it's almost like it never existed. But you're just closing it off. Or you could be aware of it, but just ignore it because it's like
suppressed emotions.
You suppress it, you see.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Or you're aware of it, but then because people don't give you a positive feedback to it, you try not to act on it as much as you can, and you convince yourself that it's not part of who you are.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
You sort of detach yourself from it, in a way, you see. Whereas your persona is now you've had all this feedback from the people that you've interacted with, and now you're like, okay, so I'm going to fashion this personality, this character, to be this person so that I don't get the negative feedback. So I can assimilate myself into society in the most simpler way without too much friction.
Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah.
You see? So those are the things that make up your persona. But the problem now is the things that are in your unconscious now. That's what Carl Jung calls your shadow now.
Okay.
Because now you keep suppressing those things. Eventually you become, you're not whole, man. So you sort of become a bit of a bitter person in a way. Because the things that you truly want to do, but you keep getting the negative feedback from people, are still there. So you don't get.
Keep suppressing them.
You keep suppressing them, keep suppressing them, keep suppressing them.
That's it.
You see, and then eventually you will act out on those people. The way he says it, he says it's either you will act out on those things in a very aggressive manner,
Okay.
or you'll project those things in other people. Because you are continuously thinking of those things at the back of your head, but not acting on them. When other people act in a way that you feel like it could be informed by the same thing, you project now yourself to those people now, and assume those people are actually, doing things because of whatever you think they're doing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Wait a minute, before you can go on to the influences. The conscious and unconscious. The word unconscious, and that means subconscious. I think.
Subconscious is part of the unconscious. It's the things that you don't think of, but you do. You can do something subconscious.
No, it's not like. Actually, the definition of the word unconscious to me is that's all.
Oh,
okay. Subconscious.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you say it's unconscious, it's not based on the medical term like you're asleep. But it's in the same way, because you're not aware of it. If you're unconscious, you're asleep, right? You're still alive, but you're simply just not aware.
I guess maybe Chris was asking, like, is it any different from subconscious?
Or is it the same thing?
Or it's the same thing? Because I think, like, with
It's
subconscious,
like
it's not something that
you think about.
Yeah, you don't always tap into it.
You
like
do it subconsciously.
Yeah, of course. Like,
yeah, I think that's why I was saying, in my understanding, I would say the subconscious is part of the unconscious.
Okay.
It's like a part of the because in Jung's philosophy, they assume that, as it's like what I said, right? You will act on those things without knowing about it.
I see.
You see? So it's like you're doing it subconsciously without being aware.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I still have a problem with the word unconscious. But yeah.
Hey,
I just say I thought
it's
fine.
Yeah, but basically it's just the things you're not aware of.
Yeah.
But I think it's called unconscious because when you're unconscious as well, you're just not aware of the things that are happening around you. You're unconscious.
So how much of the self is personality?
Well, yourself is everything. The bad and the good things that make you.
Yeah, so now I'm trying to find out like what defines self, because it's like I quickly went towards the word personality because that's how I define people most of the time. I don't know what else could there be as an individual that does not, like, let's say not say what you do. Perhaps,
well, the problem now would be, is your personality a fixed thing now? You see? Does it change?
So what is the self? Because I think that's where I'm bordering around. I'm not really understanding what the self is.
The self is all the things that you can be. Like it's your potential as a being.
Okay.
Your personality,
I see now, yeah.
almost anything that you can be is yourself.
Yeah,
but of course, your whole being, anything that you can be, good, bad, everything, that's who you are.
Yeah, that's where I'm sitting at. Yeah, so that's good then, yeah.
So even your personality, basically, it's part of the self, but it's not yourself.
Okay.
You see? So your ego, your persona, the shadow itself, all of those things become who you are in the end.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
You see, so that's why even what's this guy's name that we like, Jordan Peterson, was saying for you to be a fully realized human being, you can't be a bunny, man. You can't be a bunny. You can't be a rabbit. You sort of have to be like a mixture of the two, the rabbit and the wolf. So the shadow is sort of like the wolf, the predator that has all these qualities that people normally find intimidating and repulsive. They don't really like them.
I see.
But if you don't have those qualities, you're sort of like the bunny.
Okay.
Now anyone can take advantage of you now because you can't, anyone can manipulate you. You see? And no one wants to be the bunny.
Yeah, I know that makes sense.
You see? So what he was saying is you should be capable of being the wolf.
Mm.
You're sort of like a wolf, but you're sort of behaving sort of in a way that is controlled.
I guess. So I mean, like, going back to what Peach was saying, I think maybe it ties into this whole thing, like that whole blank slate theory.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, like, we kind of want to find out, like, how then do you build self? Because if we're gonna now come up and say, self is all these things that make you as a person, right? Personality involved also, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing now. I kind of want to find out, like, how do we build this?
The self.
I think the self is you build from influences.
Influence.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Mostly.
So basically,
I have an opposing theory.
I think you have an opposing theory. But it's like what I said. I think when you're born, because you spoke about the blank slate theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that if you're born, you're just a blank slate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel like. I feel like when everyone is born, all you are is potential. But of course, I feel like you
what
do
defines
have.
that potential, though? That's what I want to find out. Like, everybody has the same potential now.
That's
Especially
the
if you want
thing.
to speak about like blank slate theory, then it becomes like, what do you call it? Like, everybody can be anything.
Okay, so now the way that Young explains it is that you have a future self. Every person has a potential future self. A potential future self is sort of, that's the whole you know, that's the self. Your potential future self is the self, is the actual fully realized self.
How do we get to that?
Yeah. So basically what they say is the future self, if you take it in this case, it's almost like the future self sort of informs you as to who you can be. Right? So the things that you become attracted to. You'll sort of see yourself, man. As you live, there'll be certain things. It's almost like there was this thing that me and my friend used to speak about. So where we said you can take two kids, they'll grow up in the same environment. They're both the same age, they're both boys. Okay, let's say they're twins, identical twins. Right? But their interests will not be the same.
That's what I've been talking about.
Yes.
So there's an innate person.
So there is an innate person.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one.
Yes.
So now sometimes when you now look at things like influence and all that now,
They just
that's
have to
where-
shape the person.
That's where now the blank slate theory for me fails.
Yeah. Well,
There is something you're building
there
from.
is something that we are
Yeah.
inherited.
Which is why you walk around as a man, they're wanting certain things. There is influence in it, but I feel like you are drawn to certain things because of your innate self.
Innate self. Yes, I suppose you can put it like that. But the thing is now, when does the innate self now develop? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
No, I think it develops in the mix of all the everythings that you're being, influenced by. I think it develops even in that.
You see-
Which is why, I always try to say the innate self is a potential, and that's based on what you can do, basically, right? So, which is why maybe at self-realization now, you have started to use those talents there to, at their best.
To achieve your potential. But the thing is, what if a person has multiple future selves, and based on these choices you make, you simply just choose one trajectory? You get what I'm saying?
I think there are people like that.
Because I feel like it's sort of like that, man. I feel like
I don't. Yeah. Well, there's
you
just
can't just be one destiny.
Depending on what choice you make.
Yeah, depending on what choice you make, you can actualize in a different way.
But I'm saying that is only in special cases. At the end of the day, not career-wise, but your innate self will present whether or not. I think maybe your innate self, had it had the potential to be many, then you would have many innate selves. There. Maybe some others have been stopped.
Not necessarily. Okay, I think it all depends on the environment you live in. And how much does it facilitate you to fully be yourself? So, okay, let's say, Leonardo da Vinci. He's a Renaissance man, right? If he grew up in a family, let's say, where that only wants him to become, let's say, one of the things he was.
Okay.
Let's say maybe they just wanted him to be a painter or maybe just an inventor. He could have just been an inventor, but because he blocked off the other things that he was interested in, he would have never known that he could have also been a painter.
That's exactly
and
what I'm
also an
saying.
inventor.
So it's what I'm saying is that's embedded in your innate self. That potential to be many of those things. You could train to be a painter even if it wasn't in your innate self, but you're probably not going to be any good anyway.
So you don't think that the thing is, obviously, maybe you just never had the potential to be a good painter.
Yeah, so that's where I'm
Which is like talents now, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So it's if you can have many talents, you can be a multi-talented person, but you might not realize all of them because of the society and whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm saying there are people who have multiple talents, and if that is harvested,
Yeah.
he can express in many ways.
So do you think other people have lesser talents than other people?
I think so.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah, because for me, it's like, normally when I think about it, I refuse to, what do you call it, to settle down to the point of it didn't occur to me, that's why I didn't do it.
But what if you didn't occur to you? Okay, let's put it like this to you, right? Let's say you grew up in the rural areas, right? Where you're not exposed to all the sports that exist in the world, right?
Okay.
You grew up around, let's say there's just rugby and soccer. And you suck at both. Now you assume you're not athletic because of such things, right? And you die not knowing that you could have been good, maybe at tennis or at cricket. But if you were exposed to cricket or tennis, even if you didn't care about it, but you played, now you're like, wow, I'm good. But that's what I'm saying. If you're not exposed to something, how would you know you actually have it?
But I'm saying that's a specific thing. Like there's always some way in which your athleticism can be exploited. So there's some way that kids play. You can see that this nigga can run too fast, stuff like that. So it might not necessarily be about juggling balls, which I think is a very recent thing. Soccer is only a recent thing. But I think self-actualization was a thing even before all these sports.
Yes, but that's what I was saying. But it was limited based on what was capable, what was possible, what was possible, and what was catered on the table for you to choose from.
Yeah, but I'm saying like soccer is a specific thing. It doesn't
but it's very
define
that's
how
what
athletic someone is.
I know, but the thing is,
so many other forms.
I understand what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is these are the popular things. You understand? So in a culture where you have limited resources, what you can become will be limited to what is possible.
Well, of course, yeah.
If you don't even know that you can even be a cricket player, how will you be a cricket player if you don't even know it exists in the first place? That's kind of like what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I understand it. All I was just saying is that, like we are talking specifics here, where it becomes a little problematic in the sense that if cricket had never occurred to us, then there would have been some people who are not fulfilled, Which is what I'm thinking that is not the case. I think there's a way in which your athleticism, in that regard, can be used. Probably in war somewhere. Maybe throwing projectiles there at the opponent.
But now that comes with interest. That's why I was saying the future self, not from Carl Jung, right? It sort of shapes you based on interest.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like it's like, so you cannot say now, I understand what you guys are saying about exposure, but at the end of the day, like, depending on your exposure status, you can't now just say, no, I didn't do it because it didn't occur to me.
But maybe it didn't. But it didn't though, right? Because it was not there for you to know about it. You're just not exposed to it. So it is true, it holds.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, like, all I'm just saying is that I think there's a potential for you to be fulfilled without playing cricket. If you're athletic, I think there is something else that you could do or find yourself doing, depending on what's there.
Yes, but it depends on what part of cricket, because cricket is big. Like it's a broad thing. You can be many things in cricket, right? You can be good at bowling, you can be good at batting. You can also be an umpire if you want to. You're just good at judgment and whatever, right? Yes, that skill in itself can be exploited in multiple ways, in many altitude ways. But I'm saying, okay, let's say right now you're good at, let's say bowling. Your hands, you're very good at manipulating the ball or whatever, right? Yes, someone might find that, okay, you're very good with your hands, and they take that skill and use it, but in a way that is not in an athletic way. Maybe you load up guns in war or whatever, as you said, right?
Yeah, okay.
But the point is, you are not athletic though. You're a soldier now, which is something else. It's not sports.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's at the end of the day, man, we kind of have to. I understand this whole thing, but we now have to imagine before the current time. Okay? And I felt like people have always been trying to self-actualize, even long before. And then maybe if you have a crazy imagination, then you get self-actualized much earlier than other people, which is why I stress on the fact that people are different.
That's true. That's
true. So
true.
it's like I cannot now just accept that we are all the same, because I understand some people are able to do certain things that other people aren't.
Yeah, okay, you see now.
Like creativity.
Yeah, you see now where we are now. I think we are in that place now of the subsection now of influence of culture, religion, and why people suppress themselves, right?
Yeah. Let's take a stab at it.
Let's take a stab at it now, because I think we are there now, Okay, let's put it like this now, right? Let's say now the environment we live in is before the industrial times.
Okay.
We are still in the jungle here and there. Hunting with spears and stones, fighting against other animals for prey.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Now you are a scrawny ass nigga there, like me. Yeah. Well, I'm not scrawny, but I'm not very big. I'm not exactly like an alpha who would be leading the pack.
Yeah, brown and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Now I will possibly be like a beta male, let's say, at that time, right?
Okay.
So our niggas are like, my nigga, you're not strong enough, man, to be going out there.
Mm.
You see, so you are going to be maybe the cat who stays home, then protects
five.
against the small predators and make
Yeah,
fire
exactly.
if the animals come, right?
I see. Yeah.
Right. So now you spend your whole life not being exposed to the art of hunting,
Yeah.
Whereas it could be that you have attributes in your head, like you're super intelligent,
Mm.
that if you were taken there to war and you actually had the visual
Yeah, maybe
and experience,
your
you-
strategy.
there could have been
that's
far.
your thing, yeah,
You
of
see,
course, yeah, I see.
and you could have come up with weapons, maybe or something, because you could have come up with something that is super useful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So in that way, you don't get that opportunity now because of the environment and the culture that you live in.
I see.
You are born, and because of your attributes, people have sort of put you in this box already
Yeah, I see.
and prevent you now to fully being who you want to be.
Yeah. I think maybe another theory comes to play here, which was like, the Maslow, what do you call it, hierarchy of needs in a sense. I think it sort of covers all these things that we are talking about in a sense. Because obviously if you're not enlightened where as far as food, shelter and everything, all these barriers that we're talking about, if you don't feel safe, as in the sense of you being not allowed to go and do stuff, you're not safe. You're not safe in that society.
Yeah,
And
you're
it
not
doesn't
free,
help you.
basically.
Exactly. If that need is not met at the end of the day,
Then you can't
you
do
can't
that.
self-actualize.
Basically,
At the
that's
end
what I
of
was
the day,
saying.
oh yeah, sure.
Though you might have those interests
Yeah,
in your
of
head,
course,
it's
yeah.
like you look away, you're like, man,
That's what I was saying.
You know,
Like, it
I-
cannot be because it did not occur to you. That's what I was saying. Like, an interest will hit you one day, based on what you're seeing, right? And then now you have an idea, like, hey, I think I might be fired this thing, but then maybe there's a barrier, like in
That-
what you
that's-
call it.
that's
like,
really-
exactly.
Okay, but what if the barrier now prevents you from thinking of that idea?
That could happen.
You get what I'm saying?
Especially
So
like in your
easy-
example of not being exposed to
To
the
the
ways
thing.
of war. But I guess like people do speak about it though when they come back. No, we did this. And then now you start thinking, this nigga's got eaten by a hyena, they could have done this. You see, so that ideation comes like that also.
It
in a
could, I
sense.
suppose it could.
But wait,
Yeah.
actual individuation is a two-way. There's a natural process, and then there's a process where you actually
Force
introduce
yourself.
yourself to
Yes,
force
yes,
yourself
yes.
to.
Oh,
So in nature, it turns out
yeah,
most people do it that way,
Yeah.
the natural way, where it's like pieces and pieces over time.
But in the end, you still, at the end, you're still the same person.
Same
You
person.
still going through the natural process. You need to.
You-
Well, I
You're
think
not.
that's in the sense of a soldier. Right?
Well, yeah.
Like nobody is like, what can I say? You've trained yourself into being something. But I'm just tying that to a career opportunity now, and I think that is not even the fullest part of individuation anyway. Like that's just only a part, like what we say, the personality, your career also, and maybe your talents and everything. That's a whole mixed bag of everything. Right? So it's like I think you can train to be something, but maybe you have not self-actualized yet.
Yes,
At the end of
it
it,
could
you know.
be. But you see, the reason why I was saying maybe you can not self-actualize because you didn't conceive the thing, right?
Mhm.
Let's put it like this, right?
Mm.
You know how it is, our ancestors, right, moved from one point.
Okay.
And you know the theory of what is it?
Speciation.
Speciation, right?
Mhm.
One population moves or they divide. One lives in a different environment. One lives in a different environment. The
Mhm.
needs of those two different environments will be different.
Yeah, of course.
And as a result, the societies will end up being different. Even the way the genes or the attributes those people will have will be different
Oh, yeah,
based on the
that's-
needs
yeah.
of the
Of course,
environment,
yeah.
right? Now, let's say in this environment, sports is not really a thing that is encouraged
Mm.
because it's so tough, man. People just grow up to be warriors. That's what people aspire to be. If you're doing weird stuff there, people just look at you funny, like, what the-
Yeah, that's true.
it's just discouraged, man, to be playing and all of that stuff. Whereas in that part, it's more balanced because food is more abundant.
Mm.
Now, let's say you have skills for sports because you're very athletic, right?
Yeah.
But you're a warrior instead because your society values that.
Yeah.
So that's what you now grow up just aspiring to be,
Mm.
right? But though in your head, you never thought of even knowing that there's even anything called sports. So in that case, that
Yeah.
will never come to your head. You don't even know.
That's why I was saying earlier, it's like I don't think you will beat yourself up about that.
I don't think you would
No.
because you don't know.
Because it's like it doesn't exist.
It's
yet.
an unknown.
But I think maybe we might see attributes of you being athletic and all. Maybe you will be the captain jumping over rocks, yeah. Because obviously I think like your interests are always going to try and you push you in the way that you can flourish as a person.
But then can we say that those interests that you don't know about, are they in your subconscious? Yeah, unconscious.
There might be there because let's say now in that village of yours, right? Let's say
Uh-huh.
you know one day you get attacked now by a big predator, right? He kills most of your people, so you run away and you're separated from your clan.
Yeah.
Mm.
You get found by those people from the other clan. When you get there, it's the new way of life, right? And now all of the things is like wow. So you start seeing so many things that you're interested in that you would have never thought are even possible.
And then naturally just
Now, and you start seeing that I'm naturally good at this thing, and I like it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you even become innovative in that field.
yeah of course.
Yeah,
no,
okay.
that's true.
You see, so it means you always had those things within you, but you're simply just not aware.
Well, what I'm
Because-
disputing is that it's an actual sport to animals. Because
Absolutely.
obviously there could have been a chance that we never discovered cricket.
There could have been, and you would have never
I
known.
don't think it's like a
You would
thing
have.
that is already implanted in your head that you should play cricket. You should do something like it.
Yes, you should
That's
do
it.
something like it. No, I mean like it's more like a skill. You have the skill,
Mm.
but how you implement the skill doesn't always necessarily.
Yeah,
it has to
that's,
be
yeah,
one of
that's.
those.
I think you said it in the words that I've been trying to find all this while.
Yes. Okay.
So what we're saying in this is that you cannot be fully yourself in a way.
Not really.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you can get to that position. Where you're like,
Oh yeah, I think you'll be
Yes, yeah,
satisfied.
completely.
I
You
think
see-
yeah, you
you see
can be
that-
satisfied.
Yeah, but I think
Dang.
that's why I was saying I feel like there's multiple future
Mhm.
versions of yourself that are fully realized. You can either be fully realized in this one way or this one way. What matters is the fact that you've used up your potential.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
You understand? You've used up all the skills that you
I
have
think
been given.
you've
But what
used
I'm
up
saying
enough.
is you cannot be this self because this self is the combination of your persona and your shadow. So
Mhm.
if you use this other side, then the other side you're suppressing and then you become this person that you are. And then you end up being that side.
Mm.
And then at the
I
end,
think some of the things that
fully
happen with
utilize
Oh, yeah.
your
But that's why
potential.
individuation is a integration of the two.
But then how do you integrate the shadow and the unconscious and conscious?
Okay, the thing
I think
is,
that can only come from a position of comfort at the end of the day. Comfort in
Yeah.
yourself as a person. Because I think there are things that you just naturally repress. You know?
repress, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but-
Possibly due to what you're saying in the society. So you obviously cancel it out before it even expresses itself.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, like, based on society and religion, obviously, there'll be things that are taboo.
Yeah.
So even if you wanted to express those
Those are
things,
remain there.
Yeah, of
it's-
course.
they
Yeah.
will, I don't think they'll be fully suppressed, though. I think the main point of individuation is to be aware, at least.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just be
Yeah.
aware of yourself
Yeah, of course,
fully.
yeah.
So that even when you do choose not to do something,
Mm.
you are still aware that it's still part of who I am.
Yeah.
It's still
Okay,
me.
Yeah.
I
It's
get
still
you.
me. You know, even though I'm not doing it, I'm aware that it's me. So that you're not shocked when people say, "Oh, my nigga, you're selfish, cat."
Yeah.
You're like, ah,
I know.
I'm aware it's me. Yeah.
So while we're still on influence, I think I just want to add something quickly. Like while reading on, what was this nigga? Maslow. Right, like he was a humanistic psychologist in a sense. And this is a field in psychology that embraces what is, and not necessarily, let's say, when you look at something that already has a pathology, you know, or neurosis, or, you know, and stuff like that. Like you're well, but you're trying now to encourage what is there already, in a sense.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
so in that sense, that's what they were saying. Like that's where this whole self-actualization thing came from, as opposed to what do you call it? Like, this is Maslow's idea.
Mm.
As opposed to it being, you know, human beings being naturally, naturally, naturally reactive.
Yeah.
But more of a thing where, like, you know, there's effort now. They're more intentional about being. In a
Yeah.
sense. So it's like, you know.
Yeah, but
So which is where I say, like, what do you call it? Influence of culture can still get into that. Maybe if it's encouraged to do that, I guess. But I guess, like, there's that innate person that they're trying to, like, personal growth at the end of the day.
Mhm.
You know, it's not psychosis or anything.
Mm.
It's just trying to be the best that you can be.
Yeah.
But can't then personal growth be overcome by your influences?
Sorry?
The personal growth,
Mm.
can it be overcome by the influences?
It can.
It can. So
It can, yeah.
So you really have to push way too hard in order to develop yourself.
I think so. Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, you need to be intentional about,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what do you call it? Like, yeah, it doesn't happen just.
But that's why it goes to those two things, the natural one and the forced one.
Yeah.
If it's natural, then it's easy for the influences now to bury you.
Yeah.
Because you're not fully knowing, you're just moving with the wind.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're doing it intentionally, you're doing it knowing that there will be these influences.
Mm.
But you're also aware fully of yourself. That's why I was saying, you simply just need to be fully aware. Like, just be aware of everything that you like,
Yeah.
things that you're interested in, your things that you're suppressing,
Yeah.
your childhood traumas, so that when you get older, you don't go into a relationship and start projecting your own
Yeah,
insecurities to
yeah.
people now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or beating your wife because you're thinking your wife is cheating because someone cheated on you in the past.
Yeah.
You know. So in Buddhism they call that being mindfulness. You're simply just aware of yourself, your full
Yeah, of
being,
course, yeah.
and you simply just accepted that is who I am.
Mm.
That's how it should be, man.
Yeah.
I think the society is flawed.
Yeah, I know
To
it's
think
not.
that a person must be this certain kind, or to box you in a certain personality, or
There's an important thing to that. But there is an important thing to that.
What is it?
I mean, some people, bro, are like psychopaths. Their personalities and who they fully are is a very dangerous thing to most people.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think we should encourage everything.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's why we have the policemen.
Yeah, but even those people, it turns out, they can also self-actualize. So they can find a healthy way of expressing their psychopathy tendencies.
Maybe gaming or something.
Maybe gaming or being soldiers. Because they're shooting a nigga's head. I mean, it's laughing now. You're enjoying it, but it is now.
But now I'm trying one real.
You see? And it turns out some of those people make very good hunters, butchers, or they can also be CEOs because they're very stern.
Yeah.
They just understand human behavior very well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, support.
You know?
So
So they basically need outlets, and I think that's what almost everyone needs. An outlet, because society will never fully allow you to be your full self.
Okay.
So for those sides of you that you're suppressing, your shadow, you need a way to an outlet to let it out. So you can rap. Now you can be as vulgar as you want to be, as misogynistic, that's your art now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you're not doing it to people. Yeah, so your outlet is sort of helping you in a way.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's what Nietzsche and I think Carl Jung also suggested at the end. You need to find an outlet, like something that you're passionate about, especially in the creative side of life.
Wow.
So it can be sports, it could be business, it could be art, visual arts, or any form of art that allows you to express those suppressed versions of yourself. So don't forget them that they exist, but just find a way to release them in a healthy way.
That makes sense.
Obviously.
Alright.
So yeah, my nigga. So I think we've sort of covered the whole integration, how to integrate now, based on what I've just said right now.
Yeah, of course.
But I suppose the question now would be why? Why is it important for you to integrate all of those things?
I don't know. I think maybe from Freudian theory, I think he also spoke about subconscious selves that we tend to shun. But that is the very basis of us now having found ourselves doing stuff that we never thought we could do. We could find ourselves doing at the end of the day. Because let's say, a quick example is pastor's children. Those ones obviously are constantly having to act a certain way, in a straight path at the end of the day. And then the first time that they are involved with something, they do it to the very last extent, with that whole thing. And it's a little toxic in that sense because it's like an overflow of emotion and expression that has been bottled up this whole time.
So do you think the uprise of mental disorders such as depression and anxiety could be due to people's shadows and the suppression of who they truly are?
I think so, but not necessarily from a negative sense. I'm looking at it from realizing your potential and seeing that you've missed that opportunity to be that person you wanted to be. You could be depressed because of that. That's how I'm seeing it.
Because you feel like you're out of time.
You're not self-actualized. Yeah, exactly. Like maybe if you thought maybe your medium to express yourself is soccer, and now you're 42 now.
Yeah, that one would kill you.
Exactly. So
but maybe not.
You could be a coach, maybe.
Maybe you could be a coach now, or maybe you could find another thing
or
that
you
you
play
can use.
FIFA, I guess. But I mean, at the end of the day, yeah.
But I feel like, man, for me, I do feel like maybe anxiety and depression come from suppression of oneself.
Okay.
Because it has been shown that your nurture as a child, especially in the first few months when you are born, greatly influences who you become. So if you are a child and you like specific things, and each time you try to do those things, your parents are always there smacking you, shutting down, and you eventually push yourself to say, okay, this is a bad thing. Though you know that's truly what you really want to be, and you choose something else that you're not supposed to do. That's what society wants from you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You end up being unhappy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can easily find a good example, like just being in a relationship that you want to be out of so bad. I mean, you're being forced to be in that system, but I mean, that's not what you want though. You're constantly having to overcompensate now, like maybe smile too wide, and you're not feeling it inside, so it's crazy.
Yeah, so I suppose the point now to answer why integration is I suppose it brings peace to yourself, because I feel like even if you don't become the greatest soccer player and you wanted to become the greatest soccer player and you turn 40, but you know that inside I've done all that I can. You don't have regrets. I think regret is the one thing I think that makes people very anxious and sad.
Okay.
It's like I could have been, If
I
only.
didn't do it.
If only. You don't have that if only now. You know, I've tried the best that I can. Now I can move on freely
Yeah, exactly.
to explore other avenues now. Because
Yeah,
I
that's
put
true.
all my energy into that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but my niggas. So I think we've moved now to the last phase though of the discussion, which is advice based on one's personal experiences so far. Because I feel like all of us are still growing as people.
Yeah, I was still here.
Oh, we have spoken
We
about
don't
why
even
it's
know our
important.
future
Right?
self.
Yeah.
We've spoken about it.
Yeah, I think we just discussed why it's important right now. 'Cause I think we spoke. It's about peace of
Oh,
mind.
okay.
So
Yeah.
letting go of regret.
I guess maybe, I don't know how this, you see, I think maybe that's where I kind of want to be clear on. How is it different from individuality, in a sense?
It is basically the same.
Oh,
It's
okay.
simply just fully realizing the individuality, knowing the
I see.
individual.
Okay. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
was going to say, like, that also helps society in a sense because I think the best way in which we can make decisions, right, is by knowing what you want as an individual first, then we can talk amongst ourselves and then reach a consensus from there.
How that individual now can be fully applied to society.
Exactly, yeah, Yeah, especially like with policy making at the end of the day. We can't now be making stuff that probably, injures probably half the population anyway, because there hasn't been discourse. And if people don't know themselves, they just subject themselves to whoever is in power because you don't know
Yeah.
what it is you want,
Yeah, because I think it might actually put a stop into a lot of the things that happen, like bullying, this weird social status class thing. Because now people will be chasing the one thing that they feel should be wanted, because the rest of the things are being suppressed. Which is the same thing I was speaking about in the previous episode about the whole code switching thing.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like it's hard sometimes to fully realize yourself because of the code switching.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the only thing you will have at the end is the persona, the person that you're pretending to be,
Yeah.
just to be accepted.
Yeah.
You see, so. But yeah, so any advices, my cats?
I think sexual self-actualization is a good thing.
Yeah, that's actually.
It's the English.
Yeah, the slip of the tongue.
Self-actualization, but I think it's a good thing, man. I think personally it brings comfort and peace because we know that we are a person with flaws and everything. We are not perfect as the perspective of other people of you, then it's
Doesn't
I
affect
really
you that
get
much.
to you.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think individuation is really a process. Is really a good process.
Yeah.
Making people not be anxious about everything, about being self-conscious too much.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing in that manner.
Yeah.
I think for me as well, like I think it's a good thing
Yeah.
in the sense that I feel like if you're not self-actualized, then the process of self-actualization according to Maslow, right before it is self-esteem, building your self-esteem, and if you
Yeah.
don't have that, then you become the weakest in the population. Then it makes you susceptible to things like bullying. Because there's a new study now, like people are starting to understand more and more that bullies also sometimes have high self-esteem, which is why they feel they can
Yeah.
invade your personal space. So it's like if you kind of are self-actualized at the end of the day, you can't be taken advantage of.
Which is funny because I remember Jordan Peterson actually arguing about high self-esteem. But that's another topic though. Yeah, it was straight too far.
Okay.
So yeah.
But my point is though, man, I feel like self-esteem, you can never have high self-esteem unless you fully know oneself.
Yeah, of course.
Because now if people say, my nigga, don't be like that, and you keep suppressing yourself every time, your low self-esteem is crumbling.
Oh yeah, true.
Because you feel like, hey, maybe the true self, my true self,
It's not enough.
is not the right one. It's not appropriate. But once you accept that, I think that's where your self-esteem increases.
Yeah, of
Because now
course.
you accept fully.
So I think maybe it might be an iterative process there at the top. Like maybe you know what you should be, right? And then you build your self-esteem in that field, probably through experiences,
Through experiences,
right?
Yeah.
And then now you self-actualize,
I think so. I think the self-esteem
It's
comes
almost like,
before the
yeah.
self-actualization. Yeah.
So maybe individuation is like a step behind self-actualization in a sense.
It is.
Because it's like now you understand the self now, and then now you test yourself.
No, individuation is the process in itself. It's not self-actualization.
Okay,
It's the
what I meant like
process.
the end process of having known your
Oh, yeah,
individual.
for sure.
That's, I think that's what I
That's what I
wanted
wanted to say. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like
That's true. Okay.
No, but I don't know. I suppose now. Wait, explain. What do you mean? Yeah, my mind is a bit.
like knowing yourself as a person, which is what we're saying, like you would have individualized
Oh.
fully, right? So that then allows you to test yourself
And become self-actualized.
self-actualize
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yeah, because individuation is more a psyche thing. It's more you dealing with yourself inside.
But it could be deleterious in the sense that you could understand and think that you're weak as an individual.
That would be sad. That would be sad though.
No, like I am the least. I want to play soccer, but I know I can only be in defense because I'm a cow. So
Yeah, but I don't think that would be possible because as part of your shadow, you possibly have things like your anger there, your ego.
Yeah.
All of those things will be there. Man. So if you fully have those things from your shadow, I don't think you'll be thinking that I'm that weak. You'll be thinking, okay, I'm small, but how can I take advantage of my attributes?
That's what I'm saying. Like it's
stronger.
Yeah, that person will have to be aggressive. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not like a healthy way of thinking, in a sense. So I'm just saying, like, you could realize what you are as an individual, but depending on how you deal with that, we can see who's regressive and who's progressive.
Yeah, because they actually say that there's three ways of the individuation. You can individuate too much to the point where you've added too much of your what you call it now, the shadow. Mm-hmm. Now your shadow is the one that's dominant. Now you're a toxic person.
If
you become like that, right?
That,
Right. Or you could be too much of the persona now, the fake one. Who just wants the limelight and to be liked by everyone.
Cloud chasers.
Cloud chasers, yeah.
I guess,
where you can manipulate everyone now just to get your way. Or you could have the good balance now, where it's like when needs be, I'll be a bit toxic. But no, being aware that okay, I'm being a bit toxic, but it's for the greater good.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
But then don't be too much there. When that is done, maybe try to go back now.
Exactly.
But if it needs be now that I must be nice again, that part now must be expressed.
Of course, yeah.
I'm just striving for the balance, man. That's what.
Yeah, I think that's sort of that's basically the balance.
Otherwise, you're gonna fall on the one end.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Be a person that wants to please all the ones that's aloof from society.
Yeah, but I think once you found a good balance of the self individuation, man, that's where the self-esteem comes into play. Because even when people criticize you, you can take good criticism. It doesn't hit you that hard. You can take it as it is and decide if it's good for you or bad.
Yeah. So I'm gonna encourage you guys, to go on a journey of self-exploration, if you've not done that yet, and find what it is that you might have wanted to do that you haven't yet done. And still do,
Punishing us now.
It's a good thing.
Maybe,
It's a good thing.
Maybe if you don't, maybe even if you're not gonna act on it, just know. See the possibilities and maybe you'll realize your full potential.
So I suppose I'm the only person now who has not given advice. I'm sorry.
But you did. It's like you said, like you just strike a balance in a way.
Yeah.
Like I mean, in your arguments for something, you're already giving.
Yeah, I think I've given advice.
Yeah,
but I think the main point though that I was trying to say was, even if people do like you for your persona, my dude, I think you'll still be anxious though at the back of your mind, thinking, do they truly like me though? Or do they like what I present myself to be?
Yeah, of course.
So I guess the question now at the end of the day is more a question of choice. Would you prefer to be fully yourself and be at peace with yourself, knowing that people might not like you because of all the other attributes that you have hidden at the back of your mind? Or are you just okay being the persona that you're presenting that people like?
I think maybe a lot of it lies in the hands of society.
Yeah.
We're tolerant enough. It's like with this whole thing about free speech. Let everybody say whatever it is that they have, and then we help them from there. Not this thing of people suppressing themselves, then voting for Trump in the background.
You see,
that whole thing.
Which means they support that stuff. They always wanted to say that they're something else, but they know,
So now there's no discourse now. We can't even talk about it, like why we think these sort of policies are not good. We can't even talk about it. We just deal with the consequences of a system that is just like
that's
throwing at us.
You see, so that's what I was going to say. So the best thing is to allow everyone to say what they want to say.
Yeah.
But they should be aware though, there will be consequences.
Exactly.
So for example, if you say I'm a bitch into my face, the consequence might get smacked. They will beat around a bit. But at least you say what you wanted to say.
Yeah. And also like toxic traits can be punished early with a lighter sentence. If you're slapped, it's better than for you to now do it to the point where you must be assassinated now by the whole government.
You see,
which is why we put everything that you think is toxic to a shadow.
Of course. The inhibitions,
But I think the best thing though, if you fear that you will be punished in that way, just find the outlet there. Just find an outlet to get that frustration out.
Yeah, of course.
It could be anything, really.
Yeah.
From hiking, from swimming, from reading books.
If you have like
it could be a podcast,
exactly.
It could be a podcast.
You can also go to school. If you have radical ideas, be in the politics scene out there, just be involved in all those debates and
Yeah.
nonsense, even if it doesn't come out to anything.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I think we've come to the end of today's show, man. But maybe there might be a part 2 of the self-actualization
I kind of
process.
feel like there should be one.
I think there should
You know,
be.
probably one that's like more for actual self-actualization and not
And not
actually the
individual.
process
Not the
itself.
process,
How to be when you get to that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but I think for that we
You
might have
have
to
that task.
We might have to grow a bit, yeah.
You have that task.
Yeah, my nigga, yeah. No, but I think
Of course,
we
yeah.
have to start somewhere, man. So
Yeah,
I think,
of course, yeah.
I think,
Makes sense, yeah.
yeah, because I think the psyche is normally where everything is supposed to start. That's
Yeah,
why they
yeah,
say
yeah.
you'll never get help until you know that you need help.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, so
The psyche is everything.
the psyche is everything. So if you can get there, now you'll have the confidence now to self-actualize. I think that's kind of like the point.
No, yeah.
So maybe next time, the next part could be more about self-esteem now. How to build and maintain a self-esteem.
Yeah, let's have it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, please leave your comments and your feedback is very important so that we know what we do wrong and not.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But cheers, guys. It's been a great
Peace,
show.
peace.
Thanks for watching.
Right.